How many of you were at the last event, last month, at DIFC? Very few people. I'm just checking who are the viewers who saw me last time. So remember this guy? So you know what I'm going to ask you, right? All right.
Exercise.
Background music is what?
Not a great singer, but yes, it is an open invitation for all of you to welcome life, your dreams, your goals, whatever you want in life, welcome it like this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, I talked about taking charge of life last time. So what I delivered in 7 minutes last time, I'm going to do a quick recap for all those who missed it. So it was all about all these things that you want, right? Each of these things are in your radar and you're working towards it. And the journey is from zero to becoming a hero, achieving all of those things, right? And in that, at times you will have self-doubt, at times you lose confidence, at times you will feel, I may or may not be able to achieve all these things. Who am I kidding to have those lofty goals? But it's about creating a framework, having a framework where you can have a full support to achieve those things. But in doing that, at every moment, every step of the way, celebrate. Every small win you should celebrate. Of course, in doing all that, it sounds really, really great. But when it actually comes to taking the leap, right, you can be motivated by all the coaches in the world, by the motivational speakers, and you're ready to jump out of your comfort zone, aim towards success. And that's when Shah Rukh Khan leaves the room and Big B enters. And when Big B enters, he goes into his baritone voice. Kabhi kabhi mere dil mein khayal aata, main aur meri tanhai. Me and my solitude often have this conversation. And when you are having conversations with yourself, is it a good conversation or is it a negative conversation most of the times? Which way is it? How many have good conversations with themselves? Motivating, encouraging, real positive conversation. Great, I'm surrounded by fantastic people. How many have got those negative conversations?
Both happen, right?
Right? So that's what we're going to talk about today. So taking charge is great, but when you're actually taking charge of life and you have these negative conversations, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Because the devil and the angel game begins. And they are both sitting on your either shoulder, having a talk through your ear canals with your head in between. So you are constantly bombarded by both sides. And the idea is that how you get rid of it. Because all this conversation has a lot of these facets. There is like almost a confrontation happening between both of them with you caught in between. Where you are saying, I'm going to achieve this. And the other guy is saying, really?
Who are you kidding?
Who are you kidding? Right? Every time you look at your goals, there is this self-doubt which creeps in. There is a lot of skepticism which comes in and says, you might not be able to do it, you're not equipped for doing it. The last time you tried something, you failed, and so on and so forth. Right? Of course, you begin to ignore the positives. Probably start giving a lot more credibility to the negative one. Right? And that happens. You're in a bad mood, you constantly go over the failures. Right? I see a lot of heads nodding. It's hitting home. Okay. And of course, there's a lot of blame game happening. You recount all the failures all the time when you could have done better but you did not, and start blaming it on yourself, blaming it on situation. But of course, you know that it's ultimately you at the center of the universe, so you are to be blamed. And all that happens, and the biggest thing is you lose that trust with yourself. Trust is the most important currency in life. When somebody tells you that I trust you, there can be no bigger compliment than that. At the same time, when you tell yourself that I don't trust you, that's a big blow. How do you negate that? And that is where you start. You start with listening to yourself very carefully and start filtering that content. Negative out. If there is something useful in that negative content, take it. If there is a proper critique happening, if there is something that, okay, failed, lessons learned, great, move on. Let's utilize the failures as a stepping stone to move towards success. That's something to be taken on. But if it's only criticism, just filter it out. Be curious like a small child, because the child is very happy, very enthusiastic, always full of energy, and ready for any ideas. They don't really understand the concept of not possible and difficult and this can't be done. Right? They will argue with you at length for the things they want. We just lose the argument with ourselves. The first time we tell ourselves that I want this, and there's a noise or a sound inside our head which says, no, you can't. We accept it and we shut up. And that's what we need to stop. We become curious like the child, and of course, take the wisdom of the ages. Of course, the grey hair is there, but the young ones today have got a lot of wisdoms. I constantly learn a lot of things from my 9-year-old kid and my 5-year-old kid. They're constantly teaching me new things. All you have to be is be open to the wisdom that comes along with them. And we stop that battle. The devil and the angel both have their space, but that battle has to stop. They need to become your partners. Just like in the Spider-Man movie, all three of them came together to fight the battle and defeat the enemies, villains. You have your villains in life, which can range from self-doubt to large lofty goals. You have to get a crack at them, each one of them, and really get them out. Achieve the goals that you want. And those goals could be anything. Whatever be the size of those goals, they all can be reduced into small pieces. And then you achieve each one of those small pieces. And you celebrate. I want some ideas on how we can celebrate. Like I have very small ideas. Like I take a piece of chocolate. My fridge is always stocked with chocolates and ice creams. So a spoonful of ice cream is good enough for me to celebrate something which I've done. So if I decided that in my task list there are 20 items in the day and I accomplished 10 and I have not accomplished 10, I don't worry too much about the things which I have not done, but I'll actually celebrate the 10 things which I have done. I'll take a spoonful of ice cream and celebrate the 10. Next day I know that I've got 10 plus 20. If I'm able to do 25, oh boy, ice cream and chocolate both together. Right? So, be your own best friend. Right? We saw be your own boss. I would say be your own best friend and be that great boss you have got. Right? Bosses don't negotiate, right? Get this done. You can negotiate with your boss. Be that boss to yourself. Give yourself the orders, get this done, and don't negotiate. Get that thing done. So on that note, of course, you can be your own coach or find a coach who can help you become the person you want to be. Correct? As we always say, डर के आगे जीत है. Beyond the realm of comfort and fear lies success. On that note, I would like to leave you and over to you, Monica.